anybody knows any difference between these languages? Obviously, we know all of these are programming languages. Any difference that strikes in your mind?
There's two main differences. Some of these languages are compiler based, some of the others are interpreter based. The second
Yeah,
difference is the structure and the syntax will differ from each language.
obviously syntax is different. Matlab, in terms of maybe platform, those are platform specific or independent, somewhat like these.
Java is platform independent.
Yes. C and C++ are platform dependent. Cool. All of you must know threads. So, which of the languages do not support thread?
JavaScript none.
C++ as well. It does not support threading. Cool. Let's start. For learning object-oriented programming, the first requirement is to learn a programming language. And all of you know at least one of the programming language, then we are good to go. So let's give an introduction to programming paradigms. What is a paradigm? The literal meaning of paradigm is solve a problem or do a task. Okay, firstly, I want to apologize. This object oriented programming is a little bit theoretical. So we'll interact, but there are not so many application or practical based matlab, things that you can do in this. So it will be a little bit boring, but I will try to make it more interactive so you all do not sleep. Cool. And it is a Sunday morning. All of you must be in sleepy mode. So let's dive back into programming paradigms. So the literal meaning of paradigm is to solve a problem or do a task. Cool. So what is programming paradigm? It's an approach to solve a problem using some programming language. What does a programming language do? We have we have a problem. We have to write some lines of code to solve that problem. So that line of code, that strategy that we use, the method that we use in writing those line of code, that in turn solves the problem, is programming paradigms. Cool. Please do not use that companion mode for joining. Cool. So any doubt in this? Anybody?
No, ma'am.
Cool. Okay. So we have two literal subtopics under programming paradigms, that are imperative programming paradigm and declarative programming paradigm. So anybody has any idea what is imperative programming paradigm? Anything, just a word or two. I think you all do not have any idea, because these are things that we do not study in our course. Matlab, I have not studied these programming paradigms in any of my course in bachelor's and master's. So I was one who do not know these things. So let's go deep into this. Okay, cool. So, what is imperative programming paradigm? It is somewhat related to machine architecture. It performs step-by-step tasks by changing the state. Cool. So, we have to achieve a goal. This imperative programming helps us in this. Cool. Why are we using these imperative programming? Because it contains loops and variables that are dear to our programming languages. Cool. Now we'll go into subtopic of these imperative programming. First is procedural programming. Second, object-oriented programming. That is the topic that we'll covering today. And third is parallel processing. Cool. So, what is procedural programming? I think you must have done this. These are two things, the procedural programming and object-oriented programming, that you must have learned somewhere. Any idea what is procedural programming? Any guesses? A word or two in the in-call messages.
Each and every operation in a class function have to be defined before usage. So the purpose of the program must be procedurally written.
Cool. So these
Can I
functions have, sorry, yes, Saksham, you were saying something.
maybe it's wrong, ma'am, but I guess it's used for step-by-step logic of a program. It represents the step-by-step logic of program.
Yep, cool. Thank you, Rudra Kumar and Saksham. So there is, matlab we read what is imperative programming. So imperative programming, I told you ki that is step by step. So as Saksham said, this is step by step. There is, as per se, no, not that functional difference between procedural and imperative approach. So we write a function, we reuse the code, and that matlab, reusability of code is a boon for programming language, as you know. So that was procedural programming, and C, Java, and Pascal. They all use procedural programming. So for your interview thing now, you just have to remember what is this programming, a one-liner, and the examples. The examples are very important. Cool. So you must learn or remember these examples, because these programming languages are widely used. So we must have that thing ki if I strike that C++, I must get this in my head that this is object-oriented programming or this is a procedural programming. Cool. So, what is object-oriented programming? We will cover this in all of this 1 hour or 1.5 hours that we'll spend. So, I will give a one-liner. So, it contains a collection of classes and objects. What are objects? What are classes? We'll go back into this. Cool. Code reusability we have in this object-oriented programming. And the examples are for object-oriented programming are Java, C++, Python, and .NET. VB.NET is Visual Basic or .NET. Cool. So, matlab, this is also a programming language. For parallel processing, any example? Any idea? Any guesses? A one-liner guess or something? Anything? Guys, please buck up. Anything? I don't want to pinpoint and give something random. I got one response that is no, ma'am. Yeah, first of all, you can call me by my name only. So I'm comfortable. I'm not that much elder to you all. So okay, Jiva gave us a one-line answer that is execution of program will be parallel. Any other?
Performing multiple tasks at the same time.
Okay. Programs will get executed as threads. Cool. So we have a big task. It is used to build framework and build application as same example GPUs. Cool. That was the first time I've read this GPUs. I will read this and get back to you. मैंने कभी नहीं ये पढ़ा. मतलब Guhan, if you are comfortable, can you help me? What is this GPU? Oh, GPUs. Oh, I thought this was something else. Okay, GPUs, cool.